Guys, so I had this ambitious idea just last night. I just posted a sketchbook tour of my Moleskine sketchbook and people really liked it because, you know, people like sketchbook tours. I am the same way. And so I realized how many sketchbooks I have, and it's quite a bit. For this next whole week, I'm going to be taking you through a tour of these sketchbooks and also a little surprise at the end of the week if it works out. So cross your fingers, hopefully it works out. Today's video will be a tour of my 3 college sketchbooks, because when I did my college art video, people really wanted to see a little bit more in detail these 3 sketchbooks. So for this first sketchbook tour video, I will be going through these 3 sketchbooks a little bit more in depth than what I did before. I'm going to start with my 3D Foundations book. This was created by my teacher. He basically just compiled a bunch of quotes and art tips and random segments from art books he found. It's a mess, but it's a creative mess and I love it. So this is the opening page. So this first assignment was very interesting. He had us draw 100 of these little rectangles with dots in them. And for the first 50, he wanted us to put 1 dot in each rectangle. For the next 25, he wanted us to put 2 dots in each rectangle. The next set of squares, he wanted us to put 3 dots, and then it was 4 dots, and then for the last 5, I guess, it was however many dots we wanted. This is just some notes I took from in class and from my book, because he quizzed us on vocab. More notes. I really like this quote that I wrote down from class. Art is the thing and the anti-thing. This assignment was crazy, but also very fun. I don't remember how long it took, 3 to 5 hours probably, somewhere around that amount, but he wanted us to scribble for 3 to 5 hours. It didn't have to be non-stop, but you know, whenever we were just watching a TV show or something, we would just be scribbling in our sketchbooks. And I did try to make it a little bit more artistic than just mindlessly scribbling, so I played with like the texture of the line, and I even used my white gel pen some on this page. So that was a lot of fun, and it really helped me loosen up and see the non-representational side of art a little bit better. This is more notes from class, and these were actually thumbnails, little practice sketches to figure out what you want it to look like. These are little thumbnails for the next assignment. And this was the design I decided on. He also wanted us to critique our own work, so that's my little critique of this. These are more vocab notes and class notes. More class notes. There was a lot of note taking, as you can tell. This was a quiz, and this is the thumbnails for the next assignment, which was focusing on patterns. More thumbnails, more thumbnails. And he also had us number them by our favorites. So this was my favorite, number 1, second favorite, and third favorite. And so I went with my first favorite and kind of planned it out there. And then on a bigger sheet of paper, I drew them, these little squares, over and over and over and over again, and then had them change in a way. I'll put a picture of that up so you can see what the end product looked like. This was some of the practice for that assignment. And this was another quiz. He had us do a color wheel by memory. Again, more practice for that same assignment. Another critique of that assignment. And this is the next assignment he gave us. He had us write 50 metaphors for this one, and then we chose our favorites. And then we did 20 thumbnails for each of our favorite metaphors. So these thumbnails were for the metaphor, I wake up and the dreams within my grasp only minutes before rapidly spin down the drain and out of sight. These thumbnails were for this metaphor, as I drift off to sleep, I am sinking deeper in a silent ocean. This next metaphor is her heart had rusted throughout the lonely years. Next is insecurities are blinding, and as you can see, I started out a little bit more representational over here by drawing a person, and then I tried to morph it into something non-representational. I actually really liked this design down here. It's like 3 different people who are blinded by their insecurities, but this is the design I eventually went with. This metaphor is Wanderlust yanks her by the arm. And that was the last metaphor, and then we just had to figure out what the end product would be. So this is pretty much what my final looked like. And again, over here I was playing with color, more playing around with different colors, and this is the one I settled on, as you can see. And I can also post a picture of that so you can see what it looked like. This next assignment was to write a story, just a short story, and I wrote a little story about a tree that started as a seed and, you know, grew out of the ground. It doesn't sound very exciting, but I tried to like make it poetic and stuff. And we had to do 3 panels to tell the story, but they all had to be non-representational. And so these are the thumbnails for that. And I don't even have a picture of this final product, but it looked something like this. It had different colors in it, and it had designs in like what was supposed to be the dirt. And it's kind of hard to explain, so I'm really sorry I don't have a final product for that one, but you kind of get the general idea. And that's the end. These are just notes for my gouache review video. So the rest of the sketchbook just has his little scans of things that he found interesting, random pieces of tape. It's pretty cool. He only makes them for his students, so I did have somebody asking me about it in my college art video, but I'm afraid he does not make these available to the public. Now this one is from my drawing class for drawing class 1, and I'm just going to go ahead and start. We had homework assignments each week, and this was for the homework assignment of an observational drawing. I just drew my little plant, which I actually have over here. It's kind of gotten a little sideways since I drew that picture. These were contour line drawings, but they were blind contour, so we felt the object, say it was this paint thing, and I just felt it in my hand as I was closing my eyes and just blindly drew the lines that I felt. And yeah, that's what this is. I believe this was a phone. As you can see, I felt the little buttons. This was another line drawing. He wanted us to just practice that, and some more notes that I took, and also some of my own little doodles because, you know, I was bored. This was one of the other homework assignments that he gave us. He always wanted us to do a copy of an old master's drawing, and so I chose one of Vincent van Gogh's sketches and did it myself over here. And this is just like a little progress picture that I decided to tape in the sketchbook. We also had to do artist reports. It didn't have to be super in-depth, but he wanted us to have some pictures from that artist and some general information about them. This is one of my favorite artists, Leonid Afremov. This is unfinished. It was probably for the line drawing segment. Another one of the homework assignments was to draw a self-portrait each week and see how much better we got. I didn't really like this one all that much, but he wanted us to try, at least, to do it while looking in a mirror, and that's what I did for this one. This is one of our very first assignments, just to make a value scale from darkest to lightest. And this is also one of our first assignments. We had to copy this side on this side to mirror it. Another one of the first ones, we had to draw this picture, but we had to draw it while it was upside down. So that's what it looked like, and just for those of you who are very curious, this is what it looks like right side up. This was we traced a picture. We just traced the dark parts and left the light parts blank. This is one of Van Gogh's paintings. And then he wanted us to find like the leading lines in the painting. I'm not going to try to figure out which way this goes, but yeah, the leading lines and the leading curved lines in the painting. This was an assignment for practicing no-tan, which is just focusing on the lights and the darks. So super high contrast, simple pictures. This one was supposed to be of the stairwell, but I did not finish that. So for this, we held these clear sheets up to a scene. This was in the hallway, and we tried to trace that scene by holding it up. It was super difficult and uncomfortable to do. He wanted us to try to get some reference photos, just a little collection going, so I put them in here for him to see that I had been doing that. These are notes for the no-tan assignment. This is another one of those copying an artist picture. This was to practice cross contour, which is considering the volume of the object. Another artist report. Another observational drawing, which I actually did on the side of a cliff, and that was in my second college art vlog, if you guys want to go check that out. This is just notes for what I had to turn in. This is an unfinished perspective drawing. This is another self-portrait, but this one I didn't do while looking in the mirror, and I like it much better. Perspective notes, perspective practice, more perspective practice, more perspective practice. And these are just some notes for myself of artists that I really liked and wanted to check out. This is another artist report on Loish, which many of you probably know who she is. And this is one of her pictures that I tried to replicate for the copy assignment. This is another observational drawing that I did at this cute little cafe. And this one, I did replicate this picture, but it's on some thicker paper, and I unfortunately had to leave that at the school. And so that is all for this sketchbook. And finally, we have drawing 2, and this one does not have as many pictures in it. He wanted us to brush up on our perspective a little bit, so that's what these notes and this drawing was for. And also this drawing. This was a homework assignment, and it was an imagined perspective drawing, so 1-point perspective. This one was an imagined 2-point perspective drawing, and I did not like this whatsoever. The perspective was a little bit off, and so the building looks like at an acute angle, you know, instead of like a right angle. So I didn't like that one. This is another artist report because he still wanted us to do those. This is Georgia O'Keeffe. And he also wanted us to come up with some ideas for our practicum, which was our end of the year project. So that's what this is. This is some practice for the big perspective project, which we had to do. Another artist report on Claude Monet. Another one on Rogan Brown, who does paper cutting, which I think is super cool, and he's one of the people that inspired my practicum project, which you can see in my college art video. More practicum brainstorming, just trying to figure out the general shape of what I was going to create. More notes, more perspective practice, but this time perspective with shadows and reflections. Another artist report, an unfinished artist report, and some 3-point perspective practice. This was the beginning of a self-portrait that was colored, but I had to actually do that on different paper, so that's why I didn't finish this one. This was some notes for one of my projects, and this was just one of my own doodles that I did when I was bored. And this is some more practicum sketching. And that is the end of this sketchbook, and I will definitely be filling up these pages later. So So that's the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for my next sketchbook tour, which will include something from this pile. And also, this shirt you see me wearing is my own art. I have a threadless shop, and the link is in my description if you would like to check out more of my merch, or if you want to get this exact same shirt. And if you do buy something, share it on social media and I will repost it because I love seeing you guys wearing my stuff. So anyways, until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day and I will be back with another video tomorrow. Bye!